I never thought a birthday party would almost be my last day alive. But there I was, face down on our driveway, unable to feel anything from my waist down, a platter of smoked brisket crushed beneath me, my hair soaked in grease, and my husband staring down at me yelling, "Stop faking it." The sun was bright, the smell of barbecue filled the air, 14 guests were laughing behind me, and yet the world had become terrifyingly silent. Not a single person rushed to help, and that's when I realized everyone I trusted had already made up their minds about me. My name is Judith Santana. I'm 32 years old. I work as a billing coordinator at a chain of veterinary clinics in Covington, Kentucky, and until that day, I thought I had a normal life. I was wrong, very, very wrong. The party that changed everything. It was a Saturday in June, Leah's 35th birthday. My mother-in-law, Freya, had spent 3 days turning our modest 3-bedroom ranch on Dorsey Avenue into something out of a Pinterest board. Streamers, balloons, banners, even a cake shaped like a football, which made no sense because Leo bowled like a pro, not played football. But questioning Freya's vision was dangerous. I had been feeling wrong for months. At first it was a tingle in my feet, then crushing fatigue that made my 8-hour shifts feel like marathons, blurred vision, legs giving out, fainting in the shower. Every time I mentioned it to Leo, he said, "You're overthinking it, drink some water, relax." And Freya said straight-faced that young women these days have no stamina. But this Saturday I was trying, carrying a platter of smoked brisket, the expensive kind that costs more than my own dentist visit. I took one step across the driveway and my legs quit. No stumble, no warning, they just switched off. I went down hard, platter first, knees, face, asphalt grease soaking my blouse, and when I tried to wiggle my toes, nothing, zero. Leo's reaction, not what I expected. Leo didn't run, he didn't check my pulse, he just walked over, arms crossed, annoyed. "Seriously, Judith, stop faking it," he said. I tried to explain I couldn't feel my legs, I was paralyzed, my face pressed against hot concrete, my hair drenched in brisket juice. His expression didn't change, annoyance, frustration, panic carefully disguised as irritation. Even one of his co-workers in a Bengals jersey stepped toward me instinctively. Leo waved him off. "She'll be fine, give her a minute." And no one else helped, not Freya, not the guests. 5 months of subtle gaslighting had taught them all one thing: Judith is dramatic, Judith imagines things, Judith wants attention. And that's exactly the world I found myself trapped in, lying face down on the driveway while everyone I loved and trusted watched and believed Leaf's version. Then a siren, someone had called 911. I didn't know who, but the sound cut through the laughter and music like a lifeline. The early warning signs. This didn't start on the driveway. It started 5 years ago in a break room smelling of burnt coffee and microwaved popcorn. I met Leo through a coworker, Dana, who swore he was one of the good ones. He had a steady job as an inventory manager at a regional auto parts distributor, a good paycheck, and a charm that made my heart race. We dated 14 months and got married. Quick, yes, but when someone makes you feel like the only person in the room, counting months seems trivial. The shift didn't happen overnight. It was slow, like water leaking behind a wall. Freya moved from involved mother to permanent fixture in our lives. She critiqued everything I did, rearranged cabinets, instructed me on cooking, cleaning, even folding towels. And Leo always said, "Don't make it a thing, Judith, she means well." For 4 years I made nothing a thing, and that's the problem. Eventually you stop existing in your own home. The poisoning begins, small, invisible doses. 5 months before the collapse, my body started sending messages I couldn't ignore. Month 1, tingling in my feet. Month 2, fatigue that felt like bricks pressing down on me. Month 3, blurred vision episodes at work. Month 4, legs buckling in the shower. Month 5, numbness spreading up past my ankles. I tried seeing doctors, but discovered Leo had forgotten to add me to his health insurance. He promised to handle it. Weeks passed, nothing. I finally paid out-of-pocket $285 using a secret emergency account my grandmother had told me every woman should have. Then there was the tea, herbal chamomile, my nightly ritual. Around month 5 it tasted off, slightly bitter, not like before I mentioned it. Leo said he switched brands. And here's the thing that chills me to this day. For 5 months, Leo made that tea for me every single night, never missing. I thought it was love. I was wrong. The driveway collapsed, the turning point. The moment I hit the driveway, everything escalated. The paramedics arrived. Tanya Eastman, calm, professional, immediately saw my paralysis was real. Leo hovered. I heard him try to control the narrative. It's probably stress, maybe check her anxiety. Tanya calmly asked him to step back. He argued. She didn't flinch. She documented everything. My symptoms, the timeline, Leo's behavior. She didn't need to ask me twice. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't dramatic. And for the first time, someone believed me. Hospital discovery, toxicology reveals the truth. At the hospital, scans, blood work, MRIs, nothing matched common illnesses, but Tanya's insistence led doctors to a full toxicology screen. And that's when they found it: methylene chloride, industrial solvent, paint stripper, degreaser, the same chemical Leo had access to at work. Repeated small doses over months, not an accident, intentional, and the realization hit me like a freight train. My husband had been slowly poisoning me. The gaslighting, everyone believed him. It wasn't just the tea. Leo had been telling everyone, friends, family, even my own sister, that I was imagining things, fragile, anxious. Gaslighting doesn't just fool the victim, it fools everyone around them. By the time I collapsed, no one questioned him. Everyone believed the story he told. Even Freya, who watched me deteriorate for months, who planned the birthday party, who could have stopped it at any time, she didn't. She facilitated it, she monitored me, she gave him cover. By the end of that first day in the hospital, everything had changed. I was alive, but I knew the fight had just begun. My husband was free, my mother-in-law was complicit, and the investigation was only beginning. What happened next would uncover secrets about money, life insurance, hidden apartments, and even a family history of the same slow, deliberate poisoning. I woke up that morning knowing life had changed forever. Not because I'd survived being poisoned, not because my legs slowly regained feeling, but because everything I trusted, my husband, my mother-in-law, my own family, had been part of a lie. By 5:52 a.m., 3 unmarked cars pulled onto Deckery Avenue. Badges flashed. The quiet suburban morning shattered. Leo opened the door wearing gym shorts and a faded chili cook-off t-shirt, half asleep. When he saw the detectives, the look on his face was not surprise, not fear. It was recognition, the sickening acknowledgement that he had been caught. And in that moment I realized, the nightmare was far from over, but justice was finally arriving. The arrest silence speaks volumes. Leo didn't resist, he didn't scream, he didn't argue. Detective Arthur Pham, the Kenton County PD officer who had first flagged his unusual behavior during my hospital visit, calmly read him his rights. "I want a lawyer," he said. 4 words, nothing else, no protest, no lies, just those words, the way a drowning man grasps a life jacket. Minutes later, officers arrived at Freya's house. She opened the door in a bathrobe, trying to close it when she saw the badges. An officer blocked it. She yelled, pleaded, claimed innocence. She said, "I was a liar, but Leo would never do something like this." The officer didn't flinch. Handcuffs clicked. Both mother and son were taken into custody. No cameras, no spectacle, just quiet justice. Investigative breakthroughs. Back at the hospital, Detective Pham returned with news. They had begun reviewing old medical records. Raymond Gutierrez, Freya's first husband and Leo's father, had died in 2011 after a 6-month progression of neurological symptoms nearly identical to mine. Tingling, fatigue, muscle weakness, eventual organ involvement. Toxicology had never been performed. The case was closed as natural causes. Pham's tone was careful. She didn't accuse, she simply said, "If Freya did this once, she may have taught Leo. The pattern is there." That one sentence hit me harder than anything Leo had done. It wasn't just my husband, it was a family method passed down. The tea, the patience, the manipulation, the slow, calculated poisoning. Forensics and financial evidence. The next days blurred. Detectives raided Leo's workplace. Behind shelves of paint cans and old bowling trophies, they found half-empty containers of industrial-grade methylene chloride. His employer confirmed Leo had been signing out more than necessary for months. Then came the finances. The $7,400 credit card I had found, the mysterious $1,200 car repairs withdrawal. It all led to a secret studio apartment in Florence, Kentucky. A 340 square foot space with laminate floors, a view of a Jiffy Lube parking lot, signed under Leo's name 5 months ago. Every suspicious ATM withdrawal had occurred near that apartment. Even more damning, Leo had taken out a $350,000 life insurance policy on me. No medical exam required. My forged signature on the application was proof of premeditation. Freya's phone revealed hundreds of text messages confirming her knowledge. She hadn't just stood by, she had been complicit, monitoring me and relaying information to Leo in real time. Hospital recovery, regaining my body. While the investigation unfolded, my body slowly fought back. Peripheral nerves can regenerate, 1 inch per month, but damage from months of methylene chloride exposure could be permanent. My feet would never be the same, but I could walk again. 3 weeks after the collapse, I stood for the first time in the hospital hallway. 4 steps. My sister Noelle beside me, crying for the first time in relief rather than grief. The next day, 5 steps, then 12, then the length of the corridor. Every step felt like reclaiming myself. I returned to work at the veterinary clinic, the same invoices, the same golden retriever dental claims, but now I made my own tea. Some nights I skipped it entirely just to remind myself I was in control. I adopted a one-eyed orange tabby from the clinic, naming him Verdict. He didn't care about the story, he only cared that I chose him, and somehow it felt like proof that life could be simple and safe again. Legal battles, holding them accountable. Leo faced attempted first-degree murder, assault, insurance fraud and forgery, 15 to 25 years. His employer handed over complete records of every solvent he signed out. Corporate cooperation made the case airtight. Freya's bail was set at $500,000. She couldn't pay. She remained in custody. Her defense attorney advised her to cooperate. She refused. Text messages were damning. Leo's initial plea negotiations failed. The district attorney was uninterested in compromise. Evidence of premeditation, flight risk, and forged documents made bail impossible. The courts also reviewed Raymond Gutierrez's 2011 death. The forensic toxicologist noted the same progressive neurological failure pattern. Exhumation was considered if the evidence suggested poisoning. Freya's history, combined with the timeline of symptoms, was chilling. If she had done this once, she could have done it again. And indeed, Leo had followed her method precisely. The psychological toll, beyond physical recovery. Recovery wasn't just physical. Emotionally, I had to confront the reality that someone I loved had plotted my death, that the woman I'd once considered family had aided and abetted him, that my sister had almost believed Leo over me. Therapy helped me process gaslighting and trauma. I learned to identify manipulation, set boundaries, and trust my instincts. The small steps, refusing tea, checking my finances, paying for my own medical appointments, were acts of empowerment. Financial recovery and independence. The court ordered full asset seizure due to the felony. The house, the joint savings, the $1,200 stolen, all returned to me. Total assets recovered, $187,000 including home equity. Not a fortune, but a complete financial reset. I sold the house, moved to a small Newport apartment near my sister. A 1-bedroom, sunlit space with enough counter space to make my tea safely, where I could finally exist without surveillance, without fear. Courtroom revelations. During Leo's trial, the prosecution presented a meticulous timeline. 5 months of poisoning matched with toxicology results. Secret life in Florence apartment. Life insurance application forged in Judith's name. Text messages from Freya confirming her involvement. Leo's defense argued he acted under his mother's influence. Freya's defense argued she had no knowledge. Both were contradicted by evidence, phone messages, financial records, and occupational access to methylene chloride. Witness testimony from Tanya Eastman, the paramedic, was crucial. She described the behavioral discrepancies between a concerned husband and Leo's rehearsed, controlling behavior. Her expert testimony helped the jury see the reality behind gaslighting. Leo was sentenced to 20 years in prison. Freya received 12 years as an accessory to attempted murder. The life insurance policy was voided, the Florence apartment lease was terminated, the financial crimes were fully reversed. For the first time in years, I felt a weight lift. The people who had tried to control my life were finally powerless. I had survived. I had reclaimed my body, my mind, and my finances. Lessons learned, empowerment and safety. Trust your instincts. When something feels wrong, investigate, even if those closest to you dismiss it. Financial autonomy is safety. My secret savings account saved me. Evidence is power. Medical records, photographs, financial statements, they were crucial in building my case. Support systems matter. My sister, the paramedic, and my therapist became pillars of survival. Justice is meticulous. The system works when you provide it the truth and evidence. Months later, I walk through my Newport apartment with verdict perched on my shoulder. I make my tea, sip slowly, and smile. My legs aren't perfect, they shake, sometimes tingle, but they hold me up, and that's enough. I return to work at the clinic. My routine, once a prison of fear, is now a sanctuary. My patients, golden retrievers with dental cleanings more expensive than my own, don't judge. They just need me to care for them, and I do. Some nights I skip my tea entirely, and I realize I choose my life now, not Leo, not Freya, not fear. Sometimes the people who scream at you to stand up are the same ones who put you on the ground, and sometimes you have to fall all the way down before you finally see who's really standing over you. I survived, and for the first time I'm free,